Homework. Read the museum guide, description of the painting. Write the verbs in the present continuous. Read the museum guide, description of the painting. Write the verbs in the present continuous. As you can see, it's raining in this picture, and most of the people are carrying umbrellas. The two children on the right are the artist's daughter. Read the museum guide,
They are
description
playing
of the
with a
painting.
ball, and their
Write the
mother,
verbs
the
in the present
artist's
continuous.
wife, is watching
As you can
very
see,
closely.
it's raining
One on the left of the
in this picture, and
young
most of the
man
people
and a woman
are carrying
sitting
umbrellas.
at a cafe table.
The two children on the right are
table.
the artist's daughter.
They aren't talking,
They are playing
but I
with a
think
ball,
they are
and their
happy
mother,
together.
the artist's
In
wife,
the middle of the
is
picture
watching
is a
them
woman.
closely.
She isn't
One
smiling,
to the left
and
of
she
the
doesn't
picture,
have an umbrella.
a young man
What
and
is
a
she
woman
doing?
are sitting at a
Maybe
cafe
she's waiting
table,
for her boyfriend,
cafe table.
and she's thinking,
They
he's
aren't
late,
talking,
I'm getting
but I
cold
think they
and
are
wet.
happy together. In the middle of the picture
Complete
is
the
a woman.
sentence with the present
She
simple
isn't
or present
smiling,
continuous
and
form
she doesn't
of
have
the
an umbrella.
verbs.
What is she doing?
Don't turn
Maybe
on the
she's
TV.
waiting
I'm
for her
watching it.
boyfriend,
They
and
visit
she's
Africa
thinking,
every summer.
he's late, I'm getting
Every summer.
cold and wet.
I have an exam tomorrow, so I'm studying hard.
Complete the
Jack
sentence with
often
the present
gets
simple
into
or present
work.
continuous form
Where are you
of
going?
the verbs
To play tennis. I need to use the
Don't
computer
turn
now.
off the TV, I'm watching it. They visit Africa
Complete
every summer.
Paloma's email.
I have an exam
Use the
tomorrow,
verbs
so
in the
I'm
present
studying
simple
hard.
or present continuous.
Jack often gets into
Hi
work.
Mindy,
Where
my
are you
name's
going?
Paloma
To play
and I
tennis.
live in Madrid.
I need to use
I go
computer
to the
now.
cinema sometimes, but I love the theater.
Complete
Don't you?
Paola's
Do you prefer the cinema or the
Paloma's
theater?
email.
I'm a
Use
student,
the verbs
but
in the
it's
present
the winter
simple or
holiday,
present continuous.
so now I'm not
Hi
studying.
Mindy,
I'm
my
working
name's
in shop.
Paloma and I live in Madrid. I go to the cinema
visit Russia next
sometimes,
year.
but I love
I don't
the
speak
theater.
Russian very well,
What you?
so I'm having
Do you
some
prefer the
lessons.
cinema or the theater?
Are you
I'm a
learning any
student,
languages
but
at the
it's the
moment?
winter holiday,
Right soon.
so now I'm not studying. I'm working in a shop. Some extra,
Look at the
because
painting
I'm
and
going to
complete
visit
the
Russia
sentence
next year.
with the following
I don't speak
proposition.
Russian very well,
The
so
boy is
I'm
sitting
having
between
some
his
lessons.
parents.
Are
They
you
are
learning
sitting
any
on the
languages
floor.
at the moment? Right soon.
The
Paloma.
woman on the right was glossy blonde hair. The man on the left is
Look at the
wearing
painting
glasses.
and complete the
The
sentence
boy is sitting
with the
on
following
his
proposition.
father's
The
lap.
boy is sitting
The
between
boy is
his
sitting in
parents.
the middle between his
They are
parents.
sitting on the floor.
There is a picturesque beach behind
The
them.
woman on the right
There
was
is a green
glossy
palm
blonde hair.
tree next to them.
The man on the left is wearing glasses.
Why do you
The
sit
little boy is sitting on his
on
father's lap. The
There
boy
is
is
a big
sitting
tree
in the middle
behind
between
in
his
front
parents.
of our house.
There is a picture.
My son has
beach
posters
behind
in
him. There,
on the walls in
there
his
is a
bedroom.
green palm tree
My
next to
desk
them.
on the left near the window.
Why do you see
This is a family.
under
That's me
on
in
at work? There is
whose
a big
man
tree
standing
behind in front
you
of our house.
in this
My
photo.
son has posters
There is
in
a table
on the
between
walls
my
in his bedroom.
and the window.
My desk on the
Read
left
the
near the
description
window.
of the famous
This
painting
is a
Night.
family. That's me in whose man standing behind
Nighthawks.
you
Nighthawks.
in
Then
this photo.
select the correct
There
answer.
is table
Museum
on
guide.
between my
So,
and the
the
window.
painting we're looking at now
Read
is
the
called
description
Nighthawks
of the
by
famous
the
painting
American artist
Night.
Edward Hopper, who was born in 1882. Hopper finished
Nighthawks.
the painting in
Then select the correct answer.
1942.
Museum guide.
Nighthawks
So,
came to
the
Chicago
painting
a
we're
short time
looking
after that.
at now is
As you
called
can see, the
Nighthawks
painting
by
is a
the
scene
American
in
artist
an
Edward
American
Hopper,
cafe late
who
at
was
night.
born in
There are three customers.
1882.
They are sitting
Hopper
at the bar.
finished the
The
painting in
customers look like
1942.
strangers. They aren't
Nighthawks
looking
came to
at
Chicago a short
each
time
other
after
and
that.
they aren't
As you can
talking.
see, the painting
They're
is a
also
scene
a
in
barman.
an American cafe
He's busy
late
behind
at
the
night.
bar and he
There are three
isn't
customers.
talking to his
They
customer
are sitting
either.
at the bar. The
It's
customer
quite a lonely scene.
look like
The New York street
strangers.
outside the
They
cafe
aren't
is very
looking
dark.
at
It's very
each
bright
other
inside
and
the
they
cafe,
aren't talking.
but it doesn't look
They're
warm
also
and
a barman.
friendly in there.
He's busy
all.
behind the bar
The word
and he isn't
Nighthawks, like
talking
nightfall,
to his
describes
customer
a person
either.
who stays up
It's
late.
quite a lonely
Though
scene.
the three
The New York street outside the cafe is very dark. It's very bright inside the cafe, but it doesn't look warm and friendly in there at all. The word Nighthawks, like night owl, describes a person who stays up late, though the people at the bar are light and she isn't smiling. As you can see, the barman is wearing white jacket and a white hat. One of men is looking outside. He's sitting. Maybe he wants to go home. She's wearing a red dress with short sleeves. She has long red hair. She looks pretty and she isn't smiling. As you can see, the barman is wearing a white jacket and a white hat. He's looking outside. Maybe he wants to go home. Dark-suit was Edward Hopper born in 1882. Where are the customers in the painting? Sitting at Look at the painting of Mr. What is the street like outside? And Percy, very dark. Listen to the audio. What are the two men wearing? Dark suits and hats. What is a woman's hair? Long and red. Look at the painting of
Mr. and Mrs. Clark and Percy is by the British artist David Hockney, and it's considered to be one of the greatest British paintings of the 20th century. It was painted in 1971, and it's a portrait of two of his friends, Ozzie Clark and his wife Celia, and their cat Percy. Ozzie Clark and Celia were fashion designers, and they had a very successful clothes shop in London. In the 1960s, they dressed a lot of the famous pop stars of the time, including the Rolling Stones and Eric Clapton. Hockney painted Ozzie and Celia a few months after they got married, in their flat at Notting Hill in London. He painted them in their bedroom because he liked the light there, and on the wall on the left of the window you can see one of his own paintings. Mr. and Mrs. Clark and Percy is a very big painting, approximately 3 meters wide and 2 meters high. The couple are wearing typical clothes of the late 1960s. Celia is wearing a long dress, and in fact, she was expecting a baby at that time. Her husband isn't wearing any shoes, and he's putting his feet into the carpet. This was because Hockney had a lot of problems painting his feet. He just couldn't get them right. Hockney said that his aim with this painting was to paint the relationship between the two people. Traditionally, when a painter paints a married couple, the woman is sitting down and the man is standing up. In this painting, the man is sitting and the woman is standing. Usually in a painting, the married couple are close together, but in this painting, they're separated by a big open window, which symbolizes the distance between them. The white cat sitting on Mr. Clark is a symbol of infidelity. It seems that Hockney didn't think that their marriage was going to be very happy, and in fact the couple got divorced 4 years later. Celia often posed as a model for Hockney, but she says that this painting, his most famous picture of her, is not her favourite. She said, "It's a wonderful painting, but it makes me look too heavy." In 1996, 25 years after this picture was painted, Ozzie Clark died. He was murdered by his lover in his Kensington flat.
Percy is the name of the cat. That's true. Mr. and Mrs. Clark made clothes for famous people. True, the painting shows their living room. False, this is a bedroom. The painting is quite small. False, it's Percy with the name of the cat. That's true. Mr. and Mrs. Clark made clothes for famous people. True, the painting shows their living room. False, this is a bedroom. True, the painting is quite small. False, it's with 3 meters. False, high because the painter and high 4 meters. Didn't realize Celia is pregnant in the painting. Is true, like fit. Ozzie is putting his feet in the couple. conceal it also later would not, that's true. To see like the painting most of all the other holidays pictures of the Cecilia said that it's not the best between their Descartes is a infidelity true picture and Celia and also later would not, and that's true. 19 like the painting most of all the other holidays pictures false. Cecilia said paint that it's not the best. He painted this picture of 60. Ozeklam died in 1991. The some sentences which describe the painting multiply them with water. This here. There are two people in the woman is standing on the left and the man is sitting on the right. In the middle of the painting between the man and the woman there is no window. A white cat is sitting on the man describe the painting. There is a cup with water in front of the chair. There are two people in the room. The woman is standing on the left and the man is sitting on the right. Telephone. In the middle of the painting between the man and the woman and there is no window. A white cat is sitting on the man's lap. There is a carpet under the man's chair. There is a telephone on the floor behind the man's chair. Next to the telephone there is a lamp. In front of an umbrella and table and device with flowers covered with propaganda posters. Beautifully drawn picture. Who is your favorite artist? Next, what's the specific location architecture? It's an original black and white picture. To visit an art gallery. He was gifted to every attendee. The wall was covered with propaganda posters.
This is a painting of a famous nightclub in Paris. In the middle of the painting, there are 5 people sitting at a table playing cards. They are wearing coats and hats. On the left of the picture, there is a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. Her face looks very white. In the background, there are 2 women wearing long dresses. One of them is touching her hair, and the other woman is looking at her. There are 2 other men who are leaving the nightclub. One is very tall, and the other is very short. The tall man is the artist's cousin, and the short man is the artist himself.
Read the task and prepare your 2-minute speech on the topic art. Read the task.
I like art because it reflects people's feeling, their thoughts about life. The most accessible part of art is architecture. We see it every day. I like different kinds of art, such as painting,
I like
drawing,
art because
music,
it reflects
architecture,
people's
photography,
feeling,
etc. Their thoughts about life. I like modern architecture.
The most accessible part of art is
I
architecture.
like architects.
We see it every day, such as
I like different kinds of art, such as painting, drawing, music, architecture, photography, etc. I like modern architecture. I like
famous
architects
is
modesty,
such as
architecture. Peter Zumthor.
There are no additional
Ingels.
parts.
Peter Zumthor
No,
is Austrian architect. His
um,
architecture not complicated, just simply beauty. He famous.
The second architecture star
is Bjarke Ingels.
modesty.
He's a Danish
architecture.
architect who has
There
the
are no
international
additional
team,
parts.
and they
No
walk all around the
his
world. Architecture not complicated, just
They
simply
create amazing
beauty.
architecture. I love it.
I go to the
second
architecture
star
digest
Bjarke
library
Ingels.
every day.
He's a Danish
Because
architect
every day
who
gives
has
to
the
us
international
many
team
good
and
impressions. They walk
in
all around
architecture.
the world every day. The
They
buildings
create amazing architecture. I love it.
The
I
building
go to the
builds
architecture
digest library every day, because every day gives to us many
What's
good
the video
impressions.
sentence
Says you here in architecture. Every day the buildings build the building builds
Watch the video and tick the sentences you hear.
Light. This is a fairly large Impressionist painting for an image painted out of doors.
So let's locate this in history for just a moment. This is 1876. That's 2 years after the first Impressionist exhibition,
Right.
and it's only 5 years after the Paris Commune, when Paris was burning. This painting is all about pleasure and well-being.
We're in a place called the Moulin de la Galette, which was an outdoor dance hall. So you can imagine outdoor music and food and dancing and mingling and flirting, and that's exactly what Renoir gives us in a way that's amazingly uncomposed. He's really captured that sense of the movement of the crowd, and we know there's this new interest in Paris, in leisure, and for Renoir especially, in the pleasure of that leisure. But for Renoir, when they come together, there's this remarkable bonding that happens.
It feels easy and very carefree.
These two female figures in the center, one who leans on the other's shoulders while the other one turns her back around to flirt with a man who faces toward them. I mean, everyone feels like they know everyone else, right? Where this
Right,
is
this major city.
This
yeah.
is a huge city at this point, and there's this feeling of conviviality, of a small neighborhood.
And of easy exchange.
Yes.
And this is a moment when the middle class, when an industrial society is now all about exchange, but now it's an exchange that exists in the social realm as well. The goal is not a kind of resolution of the visual, but actually to catch that sense of the momentary, to catch that sort of broader experience of seeing.
And when that happens, the distinction between foreground and background
begins to dissolve.
I mean, we
which
can
is-
tell because the forms in the background are smaller, but, you know, generally speaking, forms in the background would be less intense in color.
In a sense, what that does is it invites your eye to move across the surface as a whole. And so he wants us to take in sort of the entirety of the swirling bodies, of the fluctuating light,
Yeah.
of all of that.
And at the same time that we take in all of it, our eye stops in several places. Couples dancing, cheek to cheek, couples who in the back on the bench behind who seem to have in the middle of a little bit of a tiff, perhaps, you know. So you do get places where your eye can rest, but in general your eye takes in this swirl of modern life and pleasure.
Where is Musée d'Orsay standing in front of Renoir's beautiful 1876 Moulin de la Galette? The painting glows light. This painting is all about pleasure and well-being. Renoir has really captured the sense of Musée d'Orsay standing in front of Renoir's beautiful 1876 Moulin de la Galette. What really strikes the painting glows light. This painting is all about pleasure and well-being. Renoir has really captured the sense of the moment of that time. It's an exchange that exists in the social realm as well. People from different classes feel easy and the picture is vibrant color. The picture shows 5 years time to Paris to catch the sense of pleasure is different in Paris. Your eyes is taking in this realm of modern life and pleasure. People from different classes feel easy and the painting from George Goodwin Kilburn. The goal is to catch the sense of the moment, to say what you see. Your eyes is taking in this realm of modern life. This painting you see the picnic of the friends outside. The picture gave the most popularity to its creator. With photography accuracy, the picnic is joy with the forest warmth to say what you see. Man is playing a trumpet. The sound is very loud. That's why painting you see the lady is clothing the friends outside. The picture gave the most popularity to its creator. With photography accuracy, they took off their hats and warmed some carefully. Man is playing a trumpet. The sound is very loud. That's why the lady is clothing the tree. Behind the first front we noticed two ladies and a gentleman. He's talking with them. Will you marry me?
They took off their hats and turned their relationship left. Now
On
he
the
left
left we see
destruction order by playing
and
each
on the
other.
right you see a big tree.
Behind Picnic's group there are a couple of flowers. Gently